Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
You are listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin. To master a higher frequency for new state of mind. Once you walked in a forest of splendor in which everything you did and everything you thought was aligned. It is possible at this time to begin to return to the old knowledge. Intuitive healer and manifestor Julia Griffin is here to talk about this unique time in history when all sentient beings, animals, plants, trees, and the earth are intent on creating this change. The wolves awakened her to the most incredible light, which opened gifts and brought knowledge that she longs to share. You are creators, and you were born to be creators of beauty, possibility, and joy. Join Julia on a journey into a beautiful and magical world where amazing possibilities exist. Let us help open the door. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening with Julia Griffin starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin at OneTrueSelf.com, ONETrueSelf.com, and you're listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. I'm talking with Joshua Bloom about his new book, which focuses on spirit, science, and the quantum field, as well as helping empaths with sensitivity and patterns. If you're sensitive at all, I promise you'll learn and benefit from this show. So stay tuned with us for the next hour. Now, let me tell you about Joshua. He is an internationally acclaimed, trusted authority on quantum transformation, #1, best-selling author, host of the innovative and transformational internet TV show, Emotionally Free TV, the executive producer of the cutting-edge film, The Ultimate Answer is Inside. Today we're going to talk about his companion book with a foreword written by Bruce Lipton, Ph.D. Joshua has been featured on the front page of the Washington Post as one of the first coaches to ever be featured in the mainstream media. He's developed his own modality called quantum energy transformation, which creates a landscape of possibility by inviting extraordinary empaths and intuitives to go inside themselves and access the quantum field. And we'll be talking about some of this today. He also presents a very innovative fusion of science and spirituality that involves 5 key stages of growth and healing: connect, allow, open, engage, and elevate. This serves as a roadmap to a permanent transformation that uplevels your reality to become confident and unstoppable. Additionally, Joshua's created a powerful library of programs, a way of being called Being Quantum, a transformation process called Age Clearing, his own Reiki modality named Being Reiki, and an allergy elimination process called Quantum Allergy Release. He does what most people consider impossible, delivering his clients relief, breakthroughs, and confidence. In addition, he trains students to become practitioners using quantum energy transformation. Joshua helps empaths stabilize and protect themselves energetically, eliminate overload, and align them to their spiritual purpose to become confident and unstoppable. He believes that anything is possible and that you have the power to live as you are capable of becoming, which is really an exciting concept. So Joshua, tell us why you wrote this book, The Ultimate Answer, and give us a few insights into the book.
Absolutely. Well, I wrote the book because I struggled myself personally with a lot of difficult things when it comes specifically to being an empath. You know, empaths deal with so many issues. We pick up other people's energy. We feel what happens in the world. We respond to it. We pick up energy from what's happening in the spirit world as well. So talk about overwhelm. There's a lot of stuff coming at us all the time that honestly, most people don't feel, don't sense, don't even know it. They're not even aware. And for the empath, it's like, okay, enough already. Can I sleep? Because empaths have a lot of issues with sleeping as well, because that's when a lot of activity happens when we're sleeping, and all sorts of things show up in the middle of the night that makes it difficult for us to move forward. And, we're not getting as much sleep. We're not moving forward in the grace and ease that we would like. And so through the years, I have learned many things about the quantum field. I've learned about how our bodies really work and our energy system works. And I've pinpointed exactly how to shift the energy so that an empath, for example, can sleep at night and be okay, can move forward in their life instead of be stopped. It's a very powerful understanding. And the other thing that I find, that the reason that I wrote the book was because I offer a paradigm shift in this book, and I felt that this paradigm shift needed to be out there. We're so used to our Newtonian model out there, and I'm introducing a quantum model, a more open model, one that's open to possibilities, rather than using our outdated and linear Newtonian model that kind of says, well, really nothing's possible, and you must, take this pill or do this strategy, and we can go beyond that, and that's what I'm sharing in the book.
And I think that you and I both know the more sensitive that you are and the more psychic you are, in other words, the more of an empath that you are, the more you have to figure out that you're in a different channel from everyone else, and you have to figure out something that works for you and other empaths. It's a different way of living. And that's one of the things that I think that your book addresses beautifully. So if you're an empath or you're very sensitive and you're listening to this, you need to get the book. We're going to talk a lot more. But Joshua, tell them where they can get the book.
Absolutely. We can get the book at this address. theultimateanswerinside.com. So
that's theultimateanswerinside.com.
You got it.
Okay, so people can find it there. So there are two really valuable points in the book. You present one of the most convincing arguments for spirituality and psychic ability through your presentation of comparing the old model and the new model. And I have to say that just reading that, I personally felt a shift. I would go like, oh yeah, that's right, it works that way. So that's one thing that's wonderful. The other part of it is that it tells you how to apply these realizations. And that's one of the things that I found so original and refreshing about your book. Now, the third thing is that you talk about being limitless. So what does that mean to you, limitless?
Well, being limitless is interesting, I think, because through my journey, I never felt limitless. I always have felt limited. Moving forward in my life was very difficult from when I was a child even. And, as a child, I was just so open and so into this idea of moving forward, but a lot of things would just stop me, and I'd be like, why? Like, what's happening to me? And so, thank God I was resilient,
Yes. I'm just thinking how many times I would think, why can't I do anything like other people?
Yeah, it felt so, restricting, and yet I felt like I had so much ability at the same time. So as I move forward in my life, I look at limitless as ultimately being able to achieve anything. And we can achieve anything, and it's the facade, it's the training that we got from our parents, our parents and our teachers and everybody that taught us that, be safe, don't step out too far, you might get hurt. All this stuff in our conditioning. And that limited me a great deal. This stopping me from moving forward business was part of what I was taught. I think we're all taught that. And so being able to achieve anything is what limitless means to me. And even if we fail, we're not failing, we're learning. That's a big thing that I think that especially empaths need to be mindful of. We think, oh, I didn't achieve this. I didn't get the goal I reached out to get. But you know what? You learned a whole lot of good things about what not to do. And the more that we learn what not to do, the closer we get to what to do. So I know sometimes we keep trying to move forward. I always do this. I always say, Joshua, what's the benefit for it going the way that it did? That's powerful because we don't normally do that, right? We normally say, oh, why is this happening to me? Why me? And all this stuff. I know I've done it myself personally, but now I look at it differently. Now I say, well, what's the benefit for it going this way? Maybe there's a greater plan. Actually, not maybe, but there is a greater plan. And that greater plan is guiding us. And if we pay attention, that asking that question will allow you to see what's possible for you rather than what's getting in your way. And what we focus on, we actually achieve. So that's important to realize. If I'm focusing on why me, then I'm going to get a whole lot of answers about why me. But if I focus on what's possible, then I get a whole lot of possibilities showing up in my life. So that's the key, especially for an empath. We need to live in the world of possibility. We can't live in this place of I can't, or I'm stopped, or I'm stuck. If we focus on the negative, we just get more negative. And empaths, we tend to fail very, very graciously when that happens, and often. So simply to turn it around, you just turn around your focus. And the best way I know to change your focus is to ask yourself a question. And that question, about looking at what are the benefits for it to go the way that it did, because you might really learn something about it. And
I also think sometimes empaths have to find a different approach, and that when you open up to the opportunities, you can actually do it in a different way from the way that other people think. And I was thinking when I was taking trig, I had to do all the problems a different way, and then I would redo them the way that we were taught. And I handed in my worksheet by mistake. And my teacher looked at it and he said, why are you doing these the way I taught you? He said, you're getting all the answers with 5 less steps. Just stick with that. And it had never occurred to me. And I think that's often the answer with empaths is we do things differently, but we don't always believe in doing them differently.
Well, I think that we don't believe it is because we're conditioned to do it the way that we're taught. The teacher knows best. We must follow the teacher's advice because that's what the teacher's there for. But empaths don't do things the way that the way that somebody else might think it through. We think it through in a very different way. And because of that, we follow that conditioning and we do it the way that doesn't work for us. And it becomes very difficult. Most empaths get labeled as learning disabled, or they get labeled as attention deficit, or they get labeled as, they're slow. Believe you me, empaths are not slow. I can tell you that. Empaths get things at levels that most people don't get it at. But the thing is, if you make an empath do it the way that you say they should do it, then, or the teacher says that they should do it, then it basically puts the empath in a place where they do become slow because they can do the whole thing so much faster if you let them intuitively get the answer for themselves. But we're not allowed to do that in our society.
I know. So when we come back, we're going to talk about getting quantum answers that work for empaths. And we're going to talk some more about Joshua's paradigm of how spirit and science come together. It's a fabulous book. The Ultimate Answer is Inside. We're talking to Joshua Bloom. It can truly help you if you're an empath or you're psychic. So stay with us. We're going to go to break now, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
Tune into 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolce every first and third Tuesday of the month at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. Join Susan and her guests as they share the stories that shift our souls about radical transformations, courageous breakthroughs, and life lessons. 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolce. For more information, go to transformationtalkradio.com or visit Susan's website at susandolce.com.
Hi, I'm Laura Goldstein, and here's a Coffee with the Universe tip. Ever wonder why you want to go to the gym more, for example, but you just can't make it happen? You find yourself rearranging your underwear drawer instead of getting in the car. If this sounds like you, you might have caught a case of the shoulds. Maybe you think you should lose 20 pounds to fit back into your favorite pair of jeans, or that you should be healthier in general. It all sounds good, but deep down you just aren't into it. Truth is, making choices from shoulds just leads to guilt, resentment, and a whole lot of procrastination. So take a good look at your goals. Are you shoulding yourself anywhere? If so, give yourself permission to let it go. For more insights like this, tune into my Transformation Talk radio show called Coffee with the Universe. It's a live call-in show. I'd love to support you.
Hi, everyone. I'm the host of Nothing But Now, Mindful Living with Dr. Mary Angela McGuire on Transformation Talk Radio. I share ideas, insights, and tools you can use to release yourself from fearful and negative thinking and live from a place of clarity and confidence. Please join me in each show where we challenge ourselves to change together. Please go to my website, McGuireLifeCoach.com. That's McGuireLifeCoach.com. See you next time.
What would you do with the power of community? How do you create your own rituals? Tune into Living Your Gifts with me, Susan Huff, Ancient Applications for Modern Times, the second Wednesday of each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Our lives begin with the stories we are told and the stories we tell ourselves. Storytelling is the key. To learn more about me, visit livingyourgifts.com. That's livingyourgifts.com.
Hi, I'm Julia Griffin with The Power of Inspiration and Awakening, where you can master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. My guest, Joshua Bloom, is going to tell us a great deal about mastering a higher frequency, and in a way that is particularly appropriate for empaths. We'll also talk about his new book, The Ultimate Answer is Inside, and we'll talk about how you can apply some of these things in your life to get through blocks, to see things differently, and to open up to the universe. So stay tuned. And I wanted to add, we also have a gift that you can get from Joshua. It's at quantumenergysolution.com. quantumenergysolution.com. So, Joshua, there was something about this book that's so fascinating to me, and that's how everything is energy, but that energy also responds to us. And one of the first things I thought when I started reading about that is, I think all empaths know when they start to awaken, or that at some point, they realize that we sort of feel victimized and discouraged a lot of the time. But in your book, you talk so much about how you can awaken and overcome that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think it all has to do with the beingness. This is a powerful place to understand, because empaths, as I just told you before the break, that we've been conditioned, and we've been conditioned well by society, by our family, by schools, and we live by that conditioning. In other words, we live in the linear mental mind. And as empaths, when we get stuck there, we do not function the way that we're supposed to. It's sort of like we're on the wrong frequency, we're on the wrong track. And to get back onto the right track, it's the beingness that brings us there. And in my work with quantum energy transformation, the key to beingness is also what we talked about before the break, which is attention or awareness. In other words, focus, right? What you focus on is what you get. So where your awareness or attention is matters. If you're focusing on being in your head or thinking a lot, well, you'll get a lot more thinking. Just like if you focus on good things, you'll get more good things. You focus on bad things, you'll get more bad things. So when
like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. So when we put our attention at the base of our spine, which is the tailbone or lower, that's also another way to focus. So putting our awareness at the base of our spine is the entry point into the quantum field. It's also the entry point to your spirituality, to have access to your higher self, and to everything that is. It is the entry point for it all. And when we put our attention there at the base of our spine, it puts us into a place of openness, relaxation, and beingness. Now, when we start to function there, everything seems to shift in brilliant ways beyond what we can imagine. Even what we can imagine is so cool. When you are in your body, which means that your higher self is no longer floating above your head saying, "Get me out of here." Okay? Instead, it's in your body. The higher self has come down into your body, so you and your higher self are one. And now you have that direct connection to your higher self, and we call that beingness, or some people call it being in your presence. So when you're in that place of beingness, your whole body thinks. This is really fascinating because we think about thinking very linearly. Information comes through our intellect, and we think about things. You know, your brain, your mind, will give you an answer for everything. It may not be a great answer, but it will give you one. So the intellect is very useful. It's very useful for moving forward, for following a technique, for doing steps. Your intellect is great at that. You know, it excels at taking step-by-step stuff and doing it. What it doesn't do great at is discovering what the best thing is for you. Okay? Big life choices.
Yeah, because it's programmed, and you write a lot about that. The mind is programmed.
It is. And it may not be programmed very well. You may need some
any place
upgrading.
You haven't explored your consciousness yet, you have a weird program.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when you have programs that are off, the mind is just running the program, not knowing that it's right or wrong or good or bad. It's just running it.
Yeah.
And whether that's useful for you in the moment, maybe not be so useful for you. And that's where the problem is. So the beingness opens up what I call whole body thinking, so that you're not just getting information from your intellect, you're getting it from your intuition, you're getting it from the morphogenetic field, from the quantum field, and from the universe. You're getting all this information, and that part of you, your higher self, is really, really excellent at getting what's best for you next. So when you combine the two parts of us, right, the intuitive part with the intellectual part, we operate at our best. With the intellectual part taking a back seat to the intuitive. But most of us live the other way around. We live where the intellectual part is the leader and the intuition is the follower. But when we switch it, where the intuition is the leader and the intellect is the follower, we get a very different way of living, and one that's much more spectacular than the one we're probably living.
Yeah, because the answers are right in the field. They're always right. You know, when we're talking about these subconscious programs, I want to go back to the beginning where you said that often empaths feel like they're failures because they try something and it doesn't work. But a lot of that is picking up on how we've been programmed in our mind, or what we're picking up from society or schools or culture, that have nothing to do with finding the right answer. And you said open to opportunity. Well, when we open to opportunity, that's when the universe comes in.
Mm-hmm. That's like people who think they have a bad self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, I don't have a good self-esteem. Well, self-esteem actually is programmed. Self-esteem is a program in our system that says that we're not good enough, we can't do it, we don't have the answers, somebody else who's the expert is better than us. All those things, are in that program. And that program is so old because it's happened before you were born. You started to get programmed into that. And when that happens, we have this program that's not serving us, but it's so big and it's been around so long. It's like, I don't know anything else. But the truth is that this idea of self-esteem is an energy. It is not a belief, and your program doesn't matter. So if we understand that self-esteem is an energy, then we can shift it in an instant, like literally instantly. And it wouldn't matter what you believe or think. It doesn't matter what your program is, because the idea of self-esteem being an energy means all I have to do is shift the energy of that, and then instantly I'm confident, I'm unstoppable, I'm awesomeness, right?
It's like getting a new program on your computer when you think that you can't do it. And someone says, You're just missing one step. And then all of a sudden the whole thing works.
That's right. So you can rewrite that old pattern, that computer program in your intellect that says that you're not good enough, you can't do it, simply by shifting your energy at the root of it, which is in the cellular structure of your body, which is so amazing. And when you do that, then the old program is gone and you just are awesomeness.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we really all are if we can get there, is awesomeness.
Yes.
And I think that's what you mean, when you're saying that our potential is infinite. That's who we really are. That's where we really can go. People have just sort of forgotten about that, I think.
Yeah, because in the forefront, remember I said the intellect is leading for most people. So it's obviously in the forefront because that's an intellectual pattern that's been put into the computer. Mm-hmm. So when the intellect takes the back seat and the intuitive takes the front seat, you see how that automatically shifts the paradigm for anyone.
Oh, I'm feeling it now. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Isn't that cool?
And it is amazing how even as much as I know that I can't always shift into it.
Yes. And you speak for so many people out there. The key is to get there is to get out of the intellect, because that's what gets us stuck there. And the other thing is to allow that spiritual part of you to lead. So how do you get the spiritual part of you to lead? Well, you get that part to lead by your awareness and attention and your focus. So you put your attention at the base of your spine or lower, and you connect to the place that connects you right to your spirituality. And when you're connected to your spirituality and you live that way, then automatically your intellect takes that back seat and you start to feel like you again, especially empaths who have been programmed intellect forward. We want to reprogram all of our empaths, and even if you're not an empath, we want to reprogram everybody to realize our spiritual part of us. When it leads, we live a much more powerful life.
And let's add something, things start to work.
Yeah.
When you can switch into that and you're in traffic, all of a sudden the traffic will go away. If you're looking for something that's lost, it will often reappear. If you're thinking about someone, they will often call you. So there's this shift into the flow, so to speak. And I think that's one of the things that we're all really looking for. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that more. We're talking with Joshua Bloom about his new book, The Ultimate Answer is Inside, which will help you go to a higher frequency and stay there, particularly if you're an empath. So let's go to break now, and when we come back, we'll talk more about these things.
of being bloated and nauseous? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know eating unhealthy foods eventually leads to an unhealthy digestive system? Did you know eating the most healthy, nutritious food doesn't necessarily result in a healthy body? The stomach must be healthy in order to properly digest, metabolize, and utilize even the best of nutrition. Without proper digestion from the stomach through the intestinal tract, the nutritious value is not absorbed, and the improperly digested food can be more toxic to your body than helpful. You can be doing all the right things and getting all the wrong results. In fact, other organs may also be interfering with your stomach's ability to digest. With CRA, we are able to determine the specific cause of the digestive issue and use the proper nutrition to correct the imbalance. Contact us today for your appointment at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. Or visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Hello, friends. I am Terry J. Walker with the I Am Power Hour, and here is your soul-stretching success tip of the day. 2 very important and life-changing words. I am. I have an alphabet game I wanted to share with you today. Start with the letter A and come up with as many positive words as you can think of and place those affirmative I am words before them. For example, I am abundant. Move to the letter B and do the same thing. I am beautiful, and so on. This requires you to actually focus on coming up with positive words and learn to state your affirmations with conviction, validation, and focus. Begin to say them numerous times a day. Learn to say them with feeling and belief, and you will begin to see your confidence, your focus, and your self-worth evolve. Hope you have a beautiful, successful day, and I'll see you next time.
Do you feel that you must stand alone in this life? Listen deeply, beloved soul. You are not alone. Laura Hosford offers you authentic channeled messages of love, inspiration, and heart-healing grace to guide you forward in transcending your consciousness and becoming the change you wish to see in the world. Want to get involved? Join the Get Your Goddess Groove On Facebook group and get some goddess energy in your life. Women supporting women, emotional and spiritual growth. What's not to love? Just search for Get Your Goddess Groove On Facebook and join Laura's growing community of women who are finding that divine love has lived within them all along. Share your stories, your challenges, offer your insights, celebrate spiritual growth. Join the Get Your Goddess Groove On Facebook group today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin with the Power of Inspiration and Awakening, where you can master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. My guest, Joshua Bloom, is telling us about some of the instant results, some of the wonderful shifts that empaths can have. And you can find these in his new book, The Ultimate Answer. We'll talk about the subconscious, the superconscious, and how to get through your programming. We're already talking about that and how to shift into a higher frequency. So stay with us and learn how to change your life. So Joshua, for people who are just tuning in, tell them where they can find your new book.
Absolutely. You can get the book at theultimateanswerinside.com. Again, that's theultimateanswerinside.com.
Wonderful. So if you're just tuning in, Joshua and I have been talking about how when you hit a state of higher consciousness, and I'm going to get him to tell us how to do that again, that everything immediately shifts. Your negative thinking shifts, it goes away, and you start thinking about positive things and opening up to opportunities. And yes, it does have to become a habit, and you do have to practice, but that's true of most things if you're in a physical body. So, Joshua, tell us again how to shift your consciousness to get into a higher place of being.
Yeah, so to get into this place of being, it's about getting into your body. And what that means is we're getting out of the intellect and we're getting more into that place where we're in our beingness. To do that, you put your awareness at the base of your spine, which is where the tailbone is, and you start to live life from there. a lot of people say they have difficulty meditating because they can't concentrate, or they get distracted, or they kind of lose it. But when you put your attention at the base of your spine, it's actually easy to get into that meditative place, and you'll find it much easier. However, the goal is not to just meditate or be in a place of meditation for, a short period of time, like for an hour in a day. It's like live there, be there all the time. So when you put your attention at the base of your spine, the important thing that happens is your body opens and your energy frequency instantly raises just by doing that. So when you raise your energy frequency and then you invite more of that and more of that and more of that, you start to get into a much higher level of energy. And from that higher level of energy, your higher self starts to say, wow, you're really in a good place right now. I want to be with you and combine my energy with the body. And so the higher self comes from floating above your head. It comes down into your body again, where it should be, where it should live. And it comes into your body all the way down so that you and your body are one. And when your higher self and your body become one, you're in a place of beingness. And my students experience this all the time when we do the falling leaf exercise, or we go into a place of this beingness, and you can feel it. You can feel that you're more authentic. You're there. You have energy like you didn't really know you had. If you're feeling tired or lethargic, especially now with what's going on in the world, many of us, especially empaths, are feeling overtired. Many of us can't sleep, but even if you can sleep, you might still be overtired. And that's because we're being drained by all of what's going on. So with this idea of being drained, that stops. It stops instantly. Also, a lot of empaths have difficulty with what they call energy vampires. And these are people who are, you know that, right?
Yes.
yes. Energy vampires. And they might even be your relative, or a person you've known for a long time.
Let's get real. They're often people that you love.
They're often people
or care about.
You love.
They're often people that you love or you care about.
Absolutely. And then they take your energy, and you leave that conversation, or they go somewhere and you go somewhere else, and you feel like, wow, what happened to me? I'm no longer here.
Why am I so tired?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're feeling that, what you can know is that you really weren't in the beingness. So that's actually a good test, is that if you're around an energy vampire and you stay in your body in the beingness, you actually won't get drained. They can't drain you when you're there. So the power of that is that when you get into your body and you live from that perspective, you'll always have that extra energy. You'll always have that strength, that extra strength that you didn't even know you had there. And it's amazing to live life from that perspective, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really important. I was just thinking, we're not going to go into them because there's so many other wonderful things in your book, but there are techniques that you can use to push off people's energy. But of course, you have to be aware and present to use them. So there you go. That's 50% of the equation, is just simply being aware. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that you and I both know, but I think this is really important for people to know, a lot of times when you think you're anxious, it's not you at all. It can be energy fields. It can be other people. It can be what's radiated outwardly from the news or the radio. So tell people how to deal with the anxiety factor.
Yeah, well, right now there's a lot of anxiety going on in the world, especially for an empath who's picking up everything from everywhere, as we talked about earlier in the call. And the key here is that when we're being drained by all sorts of negativity, we kind of lose ourselves. And that's the same process I was talking about before, where your higher self actually leaves your body and you become disconnected. And now disconnection can come from many things. Somebody could have been molested or raped. Somebody could have had a bad argument with somebody that was so big. It may have been somebody you really love. And from that point forward, you're disconnected and you never get back into that connection again. It happens to many people. And a lot of illnesses are created from those one-time incidences, or maybe it's a couple-time incidences, it depends on the person. But these illnesses are created from that deep stress. Now what we're seeing is that people are even more stressed than before. And because of this extra stress that we're having, it's creating the same kind of trauma as if we had those big arguments or big tragedies in our life, just living every day. It's happening all the time. So getting out of that place is all about connecting to yourself, getting into that beingness, and allowing yourself to release. Now, that's the thing. Empaths must release. And let me tell you why. Empaths get information from everywhere, as we talked about, the spirit world, from what's happening in the world, you don't even have to listen to the news. It comes to you. It's like a magnet.
Yes, we're sponges.
Exactly. So with all this stuff coming at you, we take it on because empaths are many times overly caring. And what we think, which isn't true, but we think that if we take it on, the world will be better for it. And the truth of the matter is you taking it on is not helping the world, and it's not helping you specifically. So
no, it's making everything worse because your light and love are no longer going out to everyone around you. You're not in a stable place with your own inner light and love when you take it on.
And that's the whole thing. Empaths in our best state of beingness is light and love. So staying in this light and love is really important. So if we're taking on everybody else's stuff, we're out of light and love, and we can't do what we're meant to do here.
Exactly.
So we have to release. Releasing is really, really the key. We have to let go and release those energies that we're picking up every single day. Releasing is very easy. There are two basic ways of releasing. One is intention. I intend to release it. Okay? Intention is very powerful. So when you intend to release it, that in itself could release what it is. And the other thing is breathing. When you breathe, you actually can release. So how do we know what to release? Well, when you put your attention or awareness at the base of your spine and you get into your body, what starts to happen is your body starts to talk to you directly. And you start to feel in your body where all the pains are, where all the energy is that you've been holding on to and haven't let go of yet. And all you do is you breathe into it and let it go while keeping your attention at the base of your spine. And by doing simply that, you're now using breathing and attention, right? So by using them combined, now you have a really good plan for letting them go. So at night, before you go to bed, put your attention at the base of your spine and breathe for, at least 5 minutes and let go of all the stuff that happened today. In the morning, when you wake up,
you're also connecting with the earth when you put your energy at the base of the spine, and the earth can take care of that.
That's right. The earth energy is so powerful. That's something that we forget a lot of times, is that earth energy can absorb all of the negativity for you because the earth is so vast and wide, right? It's just such a big landscape, so to speak. And when you put your attention at the base of your spine, you're connecting to the earth, like you said, and the earth will help you help absorb all of the negativity that you've picked up. Now, if you do this on a consistent basis, wow, you will see change in your life like never before. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, because you're not carrying all that around with you. Now, one of the things that I really love about you is how you talk about shifting into the quantum field. That's where the magic really is. I mean, that's where the transformation is. So I wondered if you could share a few personal impressions of the quantum field. for people who are not nearly as familiar with it as you are?
Well, I've seen the quantum field, which is really amazing. In my book, I actually give a picture of what it looks like. And the quantum field, when you look at it, it looks like a web of connections. And when we think about a web of connections, and we think of that web of connections being everywhere, the power of connecting to that is what I might call an internet, right?
The instant messenger, that's how I think of it. Because when you're in it and you think a strong, wonderful thought, it happens in a very short period of time. If you're not connected to it, it could take a long time to happen, no matter how positive you are.
Yeah, so getting connected to the quantum field is a key, and you don't have to see it to know that it's there, and you don't have to see it in order to connect to it. It's just that as an empath, I am able to see it, and being able to see it, gives me an opportunity to be able to share with you what it looks like and how those connections work. And it connects you not just to other people, but it connects you to everything in the universe. So when you put your attention at the base of your spine and you open up your auric field, so we added another layer here, we're opening up the auric field. What happens is you're now connecting to those connections from you to everything in the universe. So you have access to everything in the universe with your connection to the quantum field. So you can connect to something, and when you connect to it, it will give you information. So, for example, when I'm sitting with a client, I can tell what's happening in their body, whether they're moving energy or not, where stuff is stuck. I can see all that. I can feel all that. I can sense all that because of my connection to the field.
Mm-hmm. And then there's usually a missing ingredient. As I say, sometimes either an energy is missing or an energy is like clogged up with too much of it, or sometimes you need a new energy altogether. And the quantum field seems to supply those things.
Yes, I agree with you. It's like the insights come. Now, here's the thing about releasing. When you release on something, and it doesn't matter what you're releasing on, whether it's something you feel in your body or whether it's an event that you had in your life, when you release on it, the insights about that start to bubble up. And you start to get information that you didn't know about. So there was a woman that I worked with my quantum allergy release process. And when I helped her release the energy of the allergy, she started to realize where the allergy was originated, and she was able to tell me what actually caused that allergy and all the things that the allergy had to do with. And she said, I didn't know that until I actually released the allergy. So it's interesting that when you're connected to the quantum field and you release, you actually get these insights bubbling up that let you know things that you never would have known otherwise.
Right. It's like Jung said, what we think of as our shadow, when we release it, there's always a gift underneath it. Or I should say it a different way. When we integrate that part of ourselves in a positive way, whether it's releasing it or energizing it or whatever it is, there's always some gift underneath it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that there are. And the gifts that present themselves have been, hiding from us for so long. But the power is that we can move that energy and make a shift. There was a woman that I worked with who had fibromyalgia, and she was she had so many difficulties because of it, and her life was very difficult to move forward. But once she released the fibromyalgia, and we were able to do that in 4 minutes, that was amazing. And when that happened, she had a whole different way of living. We didn't have to go through all of that with her. I didn't have to teach her how to live differently or tell her how to connect differently.
It just came through for her. She was lucky. It just came through.
It came through because all of that was hidden in what we call fibromyalgia, right? So the powerful thing is by releasing and transforming the energies that come up, we also get to learn a whole lot, and insights change our life.
Okay, so let's recap. If you can release the things that are giving you difficulty, if you can let go of the things that are causing, let's say, difficulty with abundance, problems with health, problems with relationships, there really is a new you and a new identity underneath that was there all the time.
Oh, I love that you said that. Oh, that makes my day. So the identity of who we are is so important. Who we are matters. And we tend to think about what we do, like we associate what our job is who we are, and it's not. We associate that who we are is the things that we do. But it's none of that. But the who we are actually is an energy. And a lot of people don't know who they are because they don't have access to the energy that says, this is who you are. It's not something that you can say in words. It's only something that you can feel and sense. And so many people can't sense it because they've locked down their energy and they're in their head all the time.
Right.
So by
it's
getting
covered up with patterns.
Exactly. So when we get out of that place, when we get into our body, that's when the power comes to us where we can really live fully and enjoy our lives and gain information from our identity of who we know that we are. So instead of feeling disconnected, we instantly become connected instead.
And it goes even deeper because you say that when we're connected with our body, that we are even better at co-creation and manifesting. I know everyone wants to know about that, so give us a tip or two.
Yeah. So manifesting, we all think manifesting has to do with what you do. And Dr. Bruce Lipton has always shared with me, what you do is only 5%, and 95% is all unconscious. So it's all the things you do that you don't know you do. And so Dr. Lipton says you can't manifest with only 5% of the energy or information that you have to manifest. It's not enough to bring up a manifestation. So people who are really good at manifesting manifest unconsciously, not consciously. So what that means is that when we're manifesting from the 95% of the time that is unconscious that Dr. Bruce Lipton says we need to have access to. And with quantum energy transformation, we use the 95% by getting into the body and using that to manifest what we want. So we think that, I'm going to try a manifesting technique, but a manifesting technique is only using the 5%. You've got to shift your identity so that who you are is a manifesting person or being, right? You can't just manifest from the things you do. You've got to be manifesting all the time as a way of being. So it's really
or even
your identity.
if you manifest what you want, if you don't take the rest of you along with it, you're going to be miserable when you get it and go around saying, I wonder why this isn't working.
Yeah. So the power of manifesting is really getting access to that 95% of the time that we're unconscious, so that we're manifesting during that period of time. But when we're in our head or we're doing a technique, what's happening is we're getting stuck in that and we're not manifesting at all. So, allow yourself to put your intellect in the back seat, your intuition and spirituality in the front, and all of that starts to shift for manifesting. You start to manifest intuitively all the time, and then you become a manifesting magnet. Everything that you start to think about something that just happens.
Well, it's back to what we were saying. The second that you contact the quantum field and you turn off your thinking, but your body is present, you get a whole nother set of answers and connection that don't exist in the other place. So, of course, it's easier to manifest, right? So I feel as though your book answers so many questions with these things, and I just think that is so neat. So I'm trying to think. So people who want to read the book, they can figure out how to work on their health, their consciousness, their emotions, and their mind. Is that correct? I mean, to me, it seemed as though you covered all of those issues.
Absolutely. The whole body thinks. The whole body has the ability to help you. If you only use a part of what you have, it's not as powerful than using the whole system, right? We have a system, an energy system, a body system for a reason. It's not that we're supposed to use one part of our system. We're supposed to use the whole thing. That's why we have systems in our energy in our body. It's so that we can use the whole thing. That's the point. So the more that we use the whole systems that we were given, that's when our superpowers show up.
Okay, so people, if you want your superpowers to show up and read some really fascinating information on how science, spirituality, and energy come together, then you'll have to check out Joshua's book. I know our listeners will want to read it, so please tell them one more time. And let me tell them there are many exercises, insights, and topics that go far beyond what we've talked about. So tell them where they can buy the book and where your website is so they can learn more.
Sure. So you can go to theultimateanswerinside.com. Again, that's theultimateanswerinside.com. And you can also go to quantumhealingcenter.com and learn about me there as well.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you were with us today. Let me remind our listeners there is also a free gift, quantumenergysolution.com. And if you would like to find out more about me or what I do, you're welcome to sign up for the weekly newsletter on my website, One True Self, onetrueself.com. And you'll receive many tips about energy development on a spiritual level and finding a higher vibration. So let me thank all of you for tuning in to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening show, where you can experience a higher vibration in a new state of mind. Please join me on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month at 12 noon Eastern, 11 Central, and 9 a.m. Pacific. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here next time.
Thank you for listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Join us next time as Julia takes us deeper into the memory of the moments of light where transcendence and enlightenment emerge. The memory of the jewel of consciousness is always lived within you to tap into waves of energy and create huge changes by imagining the beauty of the vision and desires that are hidden in the heart. Learn to find your way back to nature, beauty, and your own heart, which holds the secrets of your existence and future. To discover more about Julia's adventures, animal communication, and the teachings she brings to every show, visit onetrueself.com. That's onetrueself.com. That's ONE, trueself.com.